You're listening to the Gabe Molina Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, A. Wright.
Work during the day, work during the night, bring home enough to make sure that I'm alright. Got people I know that see my dream as a hobby. From time to time, they bring it up to me. They ask, why don't you get a job? Why don't you stop looking like a slob? Why don't you settle down? Quit chasing this fantasy around. Quit hanging with your friends at the bar. Trade that old truck in for a brand new car. Talk to the bird, that's why. I enjoy what I do. No, it ain't easy, and it don't help reminding me I'm inching towards 30. I'm willing to take this leap of faith, whether I stick the landing or fall flat on my face. Still they ask, why don't you get a job? Why don't you stop looking like a slob? Why don't you settle down? Quit chasing this fantasy around, hanging with your friends at the bar. Trade that old truck in for a brand new car. Talk to the bird, that's why. I enjoy what I do, and that's how it's gonna be. Don't you got other things to do than be worried about me? Yeah. Yeah, why don't you get a job? Why don't you stop acting like a slob? Why don't you settle down? Quit chasing this fantasy around. Quit hanging with your friends at the bar. Trade that truck on in for a brand new car. Talk to the bird, that's why. Talk to the bird, that's why. What I do is real work. I enjoy it with all its kinks and quirks. Brings me satisfaction. Playing for the people, getting great reactions. Pay my bills, pay my taxes. That's just what the facts is. Still wanna make an issue about it. Read between these lines, I'm gonna split. Take it up with a bird, I'm done with this.
Nice, man. I dig it.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what drove your passion to start doing this?
Well, by this you mean like what, playing music?
Yeah.
Or, it all kind of started where I was probably about 3 or 4, and I remember my father pulled out a guitar from under the bed, and I don't know why, like he was messing around with it. I just thought it was the coolest thing.
Did he play?
He strums a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he does strum from time to time, but yeah, he pulled it out, and I saw it, and I was like, that is really cool. And I started getting lessons when I was about 5, and
Really? That young?
yeah, I was taking classical lessons when I was about 5 years old, and was doing that consistently until probably about maybe 18 or 19. So I mean, I was doing it for a couple of years. I haven't done it in a little while, but that's where I got a lot of my start.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. When you first started, what was kind of your genre that you were digging? You said classical, but was there anything else you were into?
Well, yeah, when I was younger, I was listening to, I remember really the first stuff I really remember listening to was a lot of like, there's There's Stevie Ray Vaughan, some Marty Stewart,
yeah, good stuff.
some Travis Tritt, ZZ Top. Those are really, I think, the big four. I think a little bit of some Lynyrd Skynyrd as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's really a lot of what I remember listening to off the top of my head. I know Stevie Ray and probably Marty were probably the first two that, like, I recognized even when I was younger, because, I mean, you know, as time goes on, then you figure out who wrote what and whatnot. But,
yeah.
like, I could pick out, be like, oh, that's Stevie Ray when I was, like, you know, 4 or 5 years old, so.
Really? That young?
Yeah.
So your dad was into this kind of music, I'm assuming?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I tell people I never had control of the radio growing up, so that's kind of where a lot of this has come from.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Dad was big time into. He still is, like Stevie Ray, ZZ Top, Skynyrd, like all those guys that I mentioned. He's still big into them.
Yeah. I remember hearing about you early on. I guess your dad had opened the doctor's office, and I think y'all were playing out there. Mia Marco's Pizza would show up, and I think y'all have little events out there from time to time. And I always thought that was pretty cool. And so now that I guess you've been traveling a little bit here lately, haven't you?
Yeah, and I mean, I've been around. I mean, like my normal radius is I do a lot of stuff from like San Antonio all the way up to like Austin. Sometimes I'll go to like I said, Lampasas a little bit or whatnot. I actually did book a show in Round Rock today, so.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I'll be in Round Rock in I think August for a show. So I mean, I do get up that way a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of, you know, about a 60, 70 or occasionally 125 mile radius, you know. But yeah, I mean, I get around a little.
What did COVID do to you? Did it give you an opportunity to kind of sharpen your tools, or did it kind of stop you in your tracks a little bit?
Well, COVID actually was interesting with me because, I mean, I was sidelined probably for the first 2 to 3 months. So from like March to about May. I know May, I did some gigs out in Bernie at this one place. So they brought me out, and that was like my first gig I'd done in like 2 months out there. And then actually that place out in Bend, they contacted me about doing a bunch of shows and whatnot, and they were real lenient when it came to, you know, wearing masks and whatnot. So that kind of kept me afloat.
Where about is Bend?
It's about 25 miles west of Lampasas.
Okay,
so
okay.
It's out that way. And, you know, through that, you know, even though, like I said, they're a little bit more lenient with the whole mask thing, but through that, we were able to keep our chops up and whatnot. We made sure to kind of, you know, be careful with ourselves out there and whatnot. But, yeah, no, I mean, I kept really kind of surging through. I mean, I did okay. I did pick up, in the meantime, I brought them with me, but I did learn some harmonica, which I know.
Oh, really?
Which I was being grilled about learning for a while. And
who was grilling you?
Oh, my dad.
Oh, your dad?
Yeah. Yeah, he was grilling me about it, and I was like, all right, I should probably do it. And it's funny because there was like this set of harmonicas I bought, and it was like, I can't remember, like $400 or $500 for like. Sure, they're like cheap. 6 or 7 of them. Well, but they were good ones, you know, because there's cheapos, you know. But I sat there, I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna do this, this should incline me to do it because I'm gonna drop a lot of money on these.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, yeah, I've been doing all right with it. I've been incorporating it into some songs and whatnot. So
that's cool. So you were able to book gigs for a while then. I know a lot of people were struggling with it, but that's good that you were able to still book gigs.
Yeah.
Me and my wife had gone up to, I guess during the main portion of COVID and when it was super popular. There's no better way to say it. I guess it was going big time. We drove up to Bernie. We wanted to get out of the house and said, let's go for a drive. You know, we'll just kind of drive up and see some pretty area. I tell you, no, it wasn't Bernie. I'm sorry. It was Fredericksburg. I tell you what, there was no COVID in Fredericksburg. It was packed. It was hopping.
No, they didn't care either because I'd been there a few times. Actually, I've been gigging there quite a bit. I'll be actually there this Friday in Fredericksburg. But yeah, it was right before I really started hitting a lot of gigs in Fredericksburg. Like, I remember we went for a trip out that way, and yeah, like there was nobody. Like, you'd see like bakeries or something, like where they have glass windows and they didn't have masks on and they're working on the stuff and whatnot. But I mean, you know, they were okay. I mean, there weren't any issues with it out there. So, and I didn't hear of anybody really contracting it out there. But yeah, no, I mean, it was kind of split. I mean, you saw a couple of people walking, but there was a lot that weren't. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I think when we drove through, I think we saw 2 masks and one of them was in the middle of the street. So I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah, so like a broken one.
So where are some of the other places you've been playing? Do you do a lot of hill country area?
If we're talking, well, I mean, hill country, that's like what, like Fredericksburg and all
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah, mostly in that area, I guess. Or do you head out? You ever head out to like the Concan Lakey area, anything like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do like Canyon Lake and all that stuff. I do play out there. I actually was there this past weekend. I was at the Brookshire Brothers.
You're busy. When we were trying to figure out a date for this, your calendar was pretty full, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, I am surprised that we did nail something down pretty quick. So that was good. But yeah, no, I mean, I got a lot of stuff I'm balancing where I got I don't know. We got a major show coming up at the end of this month with Sam's, and so I've been trying.
That's
to do
right,
a lot.
burger joint, right?
Yeah, Sam's Burger Joint down in San Antonio. Yeah, and I've been really trying to hone in and make sure me and the band know what we're doing and getting. Actually, the song I just played is one of the songs we're gonna do out there. And actually, that was the first time I think I've not had to look at my iPad for the lyrics for that
really?
song. Yeah. I put myself on the spot with that one, but yeah, no, we're trying to get ready for that show, and it's been, we're really trying to make sure we know what we're doing, and it's, balancing between the gigs and trying to find any open spaces for practice and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so.
Where's the band from? Are they from the San Antonio area as well, or are they traveling a little bit?
They travel a little bit. I mean, my bass player, Dave, he's out of New Braunfels, and
okay.
My drummer, Pete's out of Seguin.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not that much traveling. I mean, when we do get together, like at my parents' office. So I mean, they do have to drive a little bit. I mean, me, it's like a 5-minute drive, so it's not too bad for me. But
yeah,
it's not too bad.
How long have y'all been together?
Well, I've been playing with Dave for about close to a year, and Pete, we played before a couple of years back, and then we went some different ways, and then we got back together again. And I think we've been playing now probably, about the same, probably about close to a year as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you do some solo dates too, right?
Oh yeah.
What do you find as far as gigs go? Are you doing half and half? Are you doing a little bit more solo, or what do you got going on?
I would say solo has definitely. I mean, I'll say it's at least half and half, but but solo may be a little higher. Maybe. The one thing I will say is this: is since the outbreak of COVID, I've been offered so many more solo gigs for obvious reasons, whether it be pay cuts or not having to have a whole cluster of people around each other.
That makes sense.
So, for multitudes of reasons, I've been getting a lot more solo offers, but it's cool because I get to kind of keep, honing in, the harmonica thing, working on my own songs and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I would say it's at least 50-50, maybe more on the solo side, maybe. But I still get plenty of band shows for sure.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, you got a couple more for us?
Yeah, I can do a couple more.
Let's hear two more. What are they called?
All right. Well, that first one's a tune called "Talk to the Bird."
And you said that's a newer one, right?
Yeah, that one's a newer one. This one here, if I can get this on, there we go. This is also a newer one. This one's called Daphne Blue. So it's about a car, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. She got a big old body, nice big frame, couple hundred horses to her name, runs every time, tried and true. My old Daphne Blue. She's a steady rider, a highway machine. Even though she ain't great on gasoline, nothing else like her, at least that's new. My old Daphne Blue. Yeah, she's packing some heat underneath the hood, burns up the asphalt like a fire burning wood. turn the key and put the pedal to the floor. Watch her go, watch her soar. Yeah, when God calls my name, says it's time to go, and the God who put me under down below, got a mental coffin that will do. My old Daphne Blue. Yeah, she's packing some heat underneath the hood, burns up the asphalt like a fire burning wood. She's gotten me in trouble, yes, a couple of times, but she's best when she flies. Yeah, when God calls my name, says it's time to go, and the God who put me under down below, Savior oak and mahogany. I'll take my Daphne Blue with me. Oh yeah, take my Daphne Blue with me. Daphne Blue. Oh yeah.
It's beautiful, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Man, I like just watching you play.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Well, let me ask you something before we go into another one.
Yeah.
So, what is your, when you're writing a song? What is that process like? What some people do, everybody does it differently that I've talked to. Mm-hmm. What is your process, and where do you gather inspiration from?
Well, I mean, my process it's kind of all over the place because, you know, there are those songs here and there that you do write in like, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 minutes. For me, normally, like what I'll do is if I'm noodling around on a guitar, I find, you know, I play something like a riff of some sort that I find is interesting to me, or a chord progression, and I'll record it, and then I'll try to find some stuff later on, in terms of words or whatnot. And usually the music kind of comes first. I come up with ideas first. But then there are times where I might, you know, come up with something where I'll start thinking of words in my head and write them down first, and then I'll start, and then I'll just start kind of thinking of the music in my head, and it may come out like that. Like the first song I did, "Talk to the Bird," was kind of like that. This one here was interesting because I'd had that lick, you know, that da 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 da.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I had that for a long time. I had another song that was completely written, that had basically most of the same music. And after a while, I was like, I don't know, it's not really doing anything for me. And then I was listening, and I think my dad was cleaning the pool or something, and we got a speaker outside or whatnot that plays music. And I was listening, and it was, I think it was a Steve Earle song or something like that. And I sat there, and it was about a car as well, but I was like, and I kind of started sketching out words to Daphne Blue, and it seemed to just kind of make sense. And they're two totally different songs, and all that, because I try to be careful about not, you know, sounding close to.
That's got to be hard to not be repetitive, you know.
Well, when you only have something like 12 notes in the existing musical language or whatnot, it can be a bit tricky. But yeah, I mean, it was like I kind of wrote it about a slightly. I mean, both of those songs, the ones I was listening to, that kind of inspired the words, and this song itself. I mean, they're both about cars, but they're different kind of subjects. I mean, there's different things talked about.
Sure.
But yeah, that was the one where, again, like the music, I had most of the music in that riff, especially for months, and I wrote those words out, and all of a sudden it kind of clicked. And that's kind of the hardest part, is trying to, you know, match what you've recorded with something you might write, you know, trying to get them to match up, you know.
That's got to be so difficult, I would imagine. I'm not musical. I know what I like to hear. That's about it. But I'm not very musical, but that's got to be so difficult to find something and then store it in memory bank and be able to retrieve it later. And I don't know if it's just the industry that I'm in or what, but I can't retain anything in my memory anymore, especially at 45.
Yeah.
But it's amazing because there's other people that I've talked to, and they've been like, "Oh, I had this riff or this one, the chorus for like 2 years or something," and they finally find a place to put it, and that's awesome.
Well, my attitude is that if you have something that keeps like it keeps coming back to you in your head, it's like there's got to be something to it. Like I've got some other ones I still haven't done. I'm still trying to work on trying to put them in a place, you know. But yeah, like my idea is like if I'm sitting here and I remembered writing this lick, and like if I'm searching through my phone for all these old licks and I'm having to go like, oh yeah, I remember this one. Like and sometimes you do got to refresh your memory, but there are certain ones at least that I find like if I write something, like the riff pops back in your head from time to time. And it's like if it keeps doing that, it's like, okay, there's something to this. Like you got to do something with this.
Yeah.
You know.
How do you know? Do you store everything, or how do you know? Hey, this has some potential, or this doesn't really. Something else doesn't have the potential. Do you keep everything? Do you try and store everything, or do you discard things? Some certain things.
I mean, like I keep things and I back them up on like I'll back them up on like a backup drive or whatever, and I've got them. I do need to start going back and kind of listening to some of them because they might have something in there that's good. And I've done that from time to time, and sometimes there will be something that comes out of it. But usually, like I was saying, usually for me, like if I have a riff that comes back in my head again, like if I can remember the lick in my head, like I don't have to go back to my phone. It's like, yeah, that's something that's usually going to be probably pretty good.
That's pretty cool.
And then for me, like the other thing with going back to the songwriting process, the other thing I try to do is if I try to be as natural as possible with these songs and have them kind of flow a bit, like, and the thing is like if it gets to a point where I'm at a roadblock and I don't know where to go and it's starting to come out kind of forced, I just stop. It's like, all right, we'll come back to this another day when I get maybe a fresh perspective on it, because sometimes that's what you need is you look at it like you may have all of half the song done, and then you come back and try to do the other half. And all of a sudden, it works. You got the rest of the song done. Sometimes just, it's like really like anything, like just kind of clearing your mind and then coming back to it later.
It's interesting to see. It's interesting to see you talk about that because I find it fascinating that people like you that I think that are talented and pretty special, and because I think it's. Like I need instant gratification, right? I'm one of those people where if it's not a success, I'm ready to discard it. Yeah. But it's so interesting to talk to you and other folks and hear y'all talk about how a song can take weeks or months to develop. Yeah. And I guess it's like cooking a good stew, right? The longer it simmers and the longer it develops, the better it comes together. And not forcing something. I tend to try and make things happen even when they're not ready, and but being able to visualize it and have that ear to be able to go, you know what, I have something that has potential, it's just not ready yet, and that's pretty awesome.
Well, and it can be a little frustrating because in some ways, I don't want to say you're racing against the clock, but you're kind of pressured a bit, sort of pressured, like especially if you're trying to get your own stuff out, you're trying to get it out, and when you keep writing things that it's like it doesn't quite click, it doesn't quite work, and this and that, and it's like, well, usually sometimes you can reuse it for something else and this and that, and I agree with the one thing, like for us that's very much a real thing is like if we make something like a chili or whatever, the chili tastes better the second day around. So like you may do something one day and it's like, oh, this is great, and then you come back and it's like, wait, if I do this, now it's even better, or if I approach it this. So, I mean, something like that.
I'm going to tell you something stupid. So, this is me tooting my own horn because I have to do it from time to time. But I don't even know I'm tooting it right now. When I first started this podcast, I went and a buddy of mine, I said, man, I need an intro. Mm-hmm. And my buddy said, dude, go to YouTube, look up free music and take a piece and make a intro out of it. And I thought, oh, all right. I didn't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. And so it was funny because I've been doing everything on the iPad or on my phone. And recently I bought a laptop and went to YouTube, and I look, and every podcast that I have has copyright claims to it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was
Yeah.
like, what is that about? But I didn't think anything of it. I don't know what that means, right?
Yeah.
And so one day I was screwing around again, and I went back and I was like, what is that? What is that? They all have it. So I went and clicked on it, and it was that little 20-second of music.
Yeah.
And that I didn't know. I'm an idiot, right? So I was like, oh, it's free music. I don't know. Well, it's not copyright free.
Yeah, it's like it's free music in the sense of non-copyright music or whatnot. So like if you go to like GarageBand, you have like some Apple jingles or whatever that are in there or whatnot.
Don't tell me that, because I went and used one of their loops.
Oh, yeah?
So I went and created a whole little loop, and that's the new intro and outro. So I did some research, and apparently you can use it, and you just can't claim the loop as your own, but you can claim whatever.
Yeah.
But so that was kind of cool. But long story short, I made a new intro, and I did it through GarageBand, screwing around, clicking on some things, and I don't know. I guess I'm sure you guys go through the similar thing, but the confidence to be able to make music, because I loved it as soon as I made it. And the next day I was like, this is terrible. And I just wanted to throw it away. And I ended up keeping it. But I couldn't imagine trying to do that over and over and over for the extended period of one song, and then having to create more of those. You know, how often does doubt come in your head where you're saying, hey man, this song's no good, or I want to get rid of this, or are you fairly confident in everything you do? Because I think you sound great.
Yeah.
But does that doubt ever come into play?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there are times where I'll listen to a song, it's like, yeah, this isn't very good. I mean, like one thing I'll do, like especially with original material, like if I stop playing a song after a little while, like and I just don't even really touch it. I mean, sometimes it's that, oh, that's right, I forgot I had this song. But other times it's like if I stop playing it, it's like, yeah, this isn't very good.
You know, it's funny because the two songs you've played so far, they're so relatable. Especially the second one you just played. Sitting here watching you, smiling because the lyrics that you're singing are thoughts that I've had before about a car that I used to like.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rusted out 1966 Ford Galaxy 500, and it was massive. We'd put like 12 guys in there and cruise around town. But anyway, I love how relatable it is.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, I write these to try to kind of connect and to some other people. And a lot of my songwriting comes from like I may not have experienced something, but I know a little bit about it. But I know that there are people that have gone through it or have experienced something. So I try to kind of come across and connect. And it's cool because like this song, I did a gig in San Marcos, and I was playing the song, and I got done with the song, and there was this woman in the crowd with her boyfriend. She goes, "Where is she?" And I'm like, "Who's she? Like, what are you talking?" And she's like, "The car." And I'm like, "Oh." And I was like, "Well, like, it's not a real car. I kind of made it up, but I mean, she was interested, and to me, that's kind of where, some of these key things come into play. Is it's like if you can, gather up and garner that interest in someone, then to me that's kind of like it's a success in a way.
Yeah. Well, definitely. Like I said, I'm listening, and you're literally taking me back to high school to an old junked out car that I missed having.
Yeah.
Well, let's get in another one. What do you got?
Sure. So this one here. So this one here is off of my first CD, which is called The Way That I Am.
That's the name of the song or the CD?
The CD. Now there's a title track, so that's called The Way That I Am, but yeah, this one's not it.
Okay.
So this one's called let me get this too. This one's called Smoker's Corner, and this song is about I was going to school at SAC for a little bit, and I always used to see on the way to one of my classes there was always kind of this street corner that everybody got together and they smoked cigarettes or whatever they had.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I kept walking past it, and for whatever reason, I figured I'd write a song about it, so I did.
That's
So,
pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like, there's so many interesting topics when it comes to, songwriting and what to write about. I mean, you got love and heartbreak and all this and that, and here I am writing about street corners where people are smoking cigarettes.
Well, what's funny is to be able to see something and take a mental snapshot of it, and then create something musically out of that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
I dig it.
For sure. Well, that's why I try to keep my eyes open a lot, because you never know what the stupidest thing in the world can get your attention, and all of a sudden you got a song out of it. Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
All right. So this is Smoker's Corner. So. Let's take a walk down to the Smoker's Corner. Let's take a walk down to the Smoker's Corner, where the stoners and the junkies have fun with their dope and their rolled up blunts. I said, let's take a walk down to the Smoker's Corner, looking for a guy about 6'3" with dreads. He's got the stuff that'll clear my aching head. He's standing at the elbow in the road. You know the one which everyone here knows. No one leaves smelling like a rose. Let's take a walk down to the Smoker's Corner. Let's take a walk down to the Smoker's Corner, when the stoners and junkies have fun with their dope and the rolled up blunts. I said, let's take a walk down to the Smoker's Corner. Smoking lamp is lit. Head up, got the goods, I've got myself the cure. Go ahead and take a hit now, I know you'll feel much better for sure. There's no need to go anywhere, all my friends are here. We're living for the moment, no telling when the end is near. Let's take a walk down to the Smoker's Corner. Let's take a walk down to the Smoker's Corner, where the stoners and junkies have fun with their dope and their rolled up blunts. I said, let's take a walk down to the Smoker's Corner. Let's take a walk down to the Smoker's Corner. I said, let's go to Smoker's Corner, then we'll float ourselves back home. Thank you.
Outstanding, man. I dig it.
Thanks. Yeah.
So, let me ask you this. What, on your drive over here, were you listening to? What do you listen to when it comes to music? Here lately.
Well, I mean, honestly, I'm kind of all over the place. Obviously I started out with a lot of blues stuff. That was kind of like blues and rock was a lot of my wheelhouse early on, and some southern rock and all this and that. I mean, honestly, like I said, I listen to whatever. It's just whatever tickles my fancy. One day I might be like, you know what, let's put some Black Sabbath on. Let's do some of that. Or it's like, you know what, why don't I throw on, I don't know, like some Daft Punk or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, shit, if you want, in a bit, I could probably, you can probably take a look at my phone, see, my music library. It's all over the place. I mean, it's just whatever I think is some pretty good stuff. I mean, it depends. I even got a little bit of rap in there too that I'll listen to from time to time.
Is it 90s rap or is it new stuff?
Well, I know I do have like a Kanye song from like 2012 or 13 in there.
That was a good time for Kanye.
Yeah.
He had a good little run, I guess. Some of his older stuff I kind of dig.
There's a rap song from, actually, funny enough, it was like the very last video game I ever bought was a Madden 21, and it was a rap song off of it that I was like, this thing it hits pretty good. And so I bought it. And it's funny because I realized that the version that I bought from iTunes, they recorded a clean one for Madden, so it's like, oh, okay. But it's funny because it also makes more sense now.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, like, there's a little bit of some hip hop. I even got like some pop stuff, some indie. But I mean, I got blues, I got country, I got southern rock, I got rock. So it's all over the place. It really is.
I like that stuff too. I love blues music. Sorry if the sun's starting to hit you in the face.
I got these on, so I'm all right.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I love blues music, and I think a lot of it is the there's pain in it, right? There's a little bit of suffering, and that's an emotion that really everybody can relate to. The hardship, I guess, and you really hear it in that deeper tone, I guess, that you get out of the blues, and I really dig that stuff. So,
yeah, and it's universal. I mean, it doesn't matter what your background is. I mean, where you come from. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, everybody's had some sort of hardship. Some more hard than others.
Yeah.
But everybody's experienced at least some sort of it.
It's relatable.
Yeah, so I mean, it is a universally relatable type of thing, and in a way, it's beautiful because with blues, it's really kind of a springboard in a lot of these other genres. It's really where it begins. It's really the genesis of literally anything. I mean, country, rock, whatever.
Yeah. You talked earlier about being a fan of Lynyrd Skynyrd, and man, I tell you what, I grew up loving Lynyrd Skynyrd, and I'm going to tell you, you probably already know this. You know how they got their name, right?
Yeah, the gym teacher.
Yes, the gym teacher. Yeah. Well, there's also a show, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I've seen it a couple of times, and nowadays it's kind of hard to find. But it's called Muscle Shoals. Have you ever seen that?
I think I've heard about it.
It's a great show, and one of the cool things about it is, I guess Lynyrd Skynyrd had recorded there. In Muscle Shoals is a town in Mississippi that's right on the river.
Is it Mississippi or Alabama?
It's one of those two. I get those confused. But
okay.
It might be Alabama.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah. I've heard of Muscle Shoals particularly. I didn't know that the Skynyrd recorded some stuff out there. I know that the Allman Brothers did.
Yeah,
I know the Allmans did, definitely.
The Allmans did. I think Lynyrd Skynyrd did some too.
Yeah.
You have to watch the show.
Is it a documentary?
Yeah, it's a documentary. But one thing that's crazy to me is how much talent came out of there, and it was so funny because I think Aretha Franklin I guess she had gotten released from her recording album, and she was having a hard time, putting together the next album, and they took her down there from New York. They said, hey, you need to come down to Muscle Shoals, and I think Wilson Pickett even went down there. Mm-hmm. But the funny thing was, it was all this black music. I think it was in the 60s and 70s coming out of Muscle Shoals, and the house musicians were all white guys.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it was so funny because I think Aretha Franklin had gotten there, and she wasn't having it.
From what I think the story was she got there and she looked around like what's going on? Where's the band? And they're like, we are your band. And I think I can't remember if she said something like the hell you are or something like that. And then I think they they probably cut a bunch of stuff and ended up being some of the classic stuff.
Yeah, it was really cool. But one of the cool things that came out of that was there's a song called Hey Jude, right?
Yeah,
and
the Wilson Pickett one, right?
Wilson, have you heard that version with Dwayne Allman?
Dwayne, I've heard a bit of it. Yeah.
Oh man, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It was so funny the way they talked about it on the show. They said back then everybody was getting ready to go to lunch, and they said the only thing worse, I guess Dwayne Allman had shown up. He wanted to see if they needed a house guitarist, and they said no, we have everything we need. And he said, well, can I pitch a tent out in the parking lot? And they told Dwayne Allman, they said, yeah, go ahead, you can stay out there, just stay out of the way. And everybody was getting ready to go to lunch, and the guy they're interviewing on the show says, back in that day, the only thing worse than being seen in town with a black man was being seen in town with a hippie. Mm-hmm. So they left Dwayne and Wilson back at the studio, and they went to lunch, and they were going to bring them food back. Mm-hmm. While they were gone, Dwayne and Wilson ended up cutting that song. Mm. And so when the guys got back from lunch, they played it for them, and they ended up recording it. And it is phenomenal. But that guitar sound and that voice out of Wilson Pickett, it's crazy. But
oh yeah,
such good
Absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah.
What it's funny because when I first met you, so people know I met you through your dad. Mm-hmm. Your dad's a doctor. He's my doctor. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that he was musically inclined. But I know that he's a good dude just in the way that he interacts with me. And I always tell my wife, I'm like, my favorite thing about going to see your dad at the doctor's office, I say, is he cusses as much as I do. I always thought that was funny, but I think it's pretty cool. And I think it's good that he's been that musical influence that kind of got you started. So are you influencing him these days musically, or does he not play anymore?
No, I mean, he still picks up a guitar and strums here and there. I mean, I don't think there's anything that I'm bringing to the table that he might, be influenced by per se. Mm. But yeah, I mean, it's still working where I'm, a lot of my stuff has been influenced off of him. I mean, I've gone and kind of discovered a couple of things on my own, obviously, like through just listening to stuff. Because I mean, my palette kind of opened up because I had a point where I got a little burnt out on a lot of bluesy stuff or whatnot, and I was like, well, let me hear some other stuff that's out there. So I remember immediately after that is when I went to something like a Black Sabbath or whatnot.
Okay.
And I was listening to a lot of their stuff, and it's cool because you listen to it and it's like the birth of heavy metal,
sure.
But what's funny about it is, you listen to it, it's very much kind of like a blues rock thing. It's very blues based.
Really?
Yeah, but and I mean, I guess the only thing that really differs is that, the sound is a bit heavier than what it would normally be, And I mean, I just started getting into, just really some other things. I mean, like I said, there was some indie stuff I had gotten into a little bit. I started discovering a bit more, Southern rock type of things, but a bit more in the rock world. I definitely started doing a bit more homework with some country stuff and a little bit with Americana, but especially country. I mean, I'm a little more partial to the older stuff personally.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people that are coming out that are good, but it's hard to steer away from Old Faithful when you know what Old Faithful's putting out.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, and a lot of it was getting over my own stubbornness too, because like my dad would suggest some stuff, and I was like, no, I don't want to hear that. It's got nothing. And
now, were you doing that out of spite because you were his son, or was it just something that wasn't interesting to you?
Well, I think it. Well, I mean, it just, at the time it wasn't, and this was back when I was probably about like, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I think part of it was
a little rebelliousness.
Well, it was part of it was just like, I'd always hear him be like, you should listen to this. You should. And I just didn't want to hear it at the time. So I think part of it was just rebelliousness and wanting to kind of do my own thing. But then
you're like, no, I'm gonna listen to Miley Cyrus, Dad.
Well,
Was
no,
Cher
no,
involved?
not like that. But I mean, like,
Not that drastic.
no, not that drastic. I mean, like, it was more of like I was just really into doing more of the blues thing. So it was like I was really into Stevie and Hendrix and this and that. Stevie Hendrix, a lot of ZZ Top, but even the older stuff. So like, your Muddy Waters, is your Howlin' Wolves, all that. And I still am into it. I still very much enjoy it. But I got to a point where I was like, yeah, I need to start venturing out and kind of listening to some other things. And I found some other great things that are out there. But I started kind of, like I said, I started listening a bit more. And like when he would suggest something, I'd start listening up. And it's like, all right, this is pretty good.
What are some of the new stuff you've come across that you think's pretty good?
New stuff.
Maybe artist-wise, if not genre. What's kind of been the latest genre maybe that you've come across that you've gone? Because like I noticed as I gotten older, I've always said I like all kinds of music, and I think I really do. And but at times there's kind of like where it took me forever to get into hip hop and rap music. Now I listen to a lot of it, but there's all kinds of music. It's super weird because when I was younger, I was really into like rock music, right? And I think it was Pandora that really helped because it starts taking you down this vein, and all of a sudden you find an artist that you hear a song and you're like, man, that's a good song. Yeah. And then you go back and you follow their, I guess now you wouldn't even say discography anymore, would you? It's more of a downloadography or something. But you start going down this vine, you go, man, this music goes all the way back 10 or 15 years, and there's a lot of good stuff that I've missed. Yeah. So are there any artists that you've come across that maybe you've been around for a while and you just discovered them yourself?
Well, I know for me, like, there's certain tidbits of stuff that I've done, like, or taken, like, for example, I know I got like a Lady Gaga song or two on my phone.
She's not bad, man.
No, there's some songs.
She's pretty lyrical.
That she's put out where it's like, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Like, that's pretty good. I know, like, in terms of rock, one of the ones I got into, and this was probably about 2 years ago at this point. There's a band. Well, I don't think they're around much anymore, but there's this band out of Canada called Priestess, and then they're like a hard rock band that they're described as a mesh between like Black Sabbath, AC/DC, and some other stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they had a song in like Guitar Hero 3 a while back, and that was like the only song I knew them from. But I listened to the rest of that album that song was a part of, and I'm like, damn, these guys are good.
Really?
I'm like, damn, these guys are, yeah. I know. So I started getting into that, and they got some good stuff. I know with the blues thing, one of the things I started kind of paying attention to a bit more is you're familiar with Fleetwood Mac, right?
Oh yeah. Stevie Nicks is still hot, even though she's like 80.
I don't know if you know about the original Fleetwood Mac, where it was led by a guy named Peter Green, and it was actually a more like a blues based outfit. Oh yeah.
So when was that?
Like the late 60s, so like 68 up to, I don't know, like early 70s maybe, because the Fleetwood that everybody knows now didn't become a thing until, I think it was 1975 when they put that album out with Stevie and Lindsey Buckingham.
I was going to say, was Lindsey Buckingham still there when this guy, what was his name again?
His name was Peter Green. No. He left the band well before that. But yeah, no, Peter Green is interesting because he's got a blues base to him. He had a bunch of great, like, I'm a big fan of a lot of the British blues type of thing too. Like the way that they approach it, it's got a bit of swagger to it, whereas your older blues to me, and the older stuff still has a swagger to it. Sure. But it's a little more, like when you listen to it, it sounds a little more meat and potatoes and whatnot, whereas the British kind of threw a bit of a flair on it. It's hard to describe.
Would that be similar to like Rolling Stones type? Because I know they were influenced by the blues as well, but
kinda. I mean, the Stones kind of started doing their own thing and veering off in their own direction, and becoming a bit more on the rocky side rather than blues. I mean, they're blues based, but not like blues per se. They did still play a couple of blues songs, but yeah, they went more in a rock direction. But yeah, Peter Green was really good.
I'll have to look him up because I never even knew he existed.
Yeah, no, he was phenomenal. He had a bunch of good songs that he'd played with the early version of Fleetwood Mac and multi-instrumentalist and whatnot. But really? Yeah, and he had some other stuff that he wrote that was, not bluesy. Like there'd be some stuff where he'd whip out like a classical guitar and do some stuff, or even like a 6-string bass or something like that, and play some stuff. Yeah, I mean, it was very interesting, but it was good. Like, it was really, really good.
Man, I'll have to check that out because I've never even heard of them till just now, till you've told me. But
Yeah.
I always just assumed it was the four of them. What was it? Lindsey Buckingham.
I think there was
Stevie
5
Nicks.
of them.
Was there 5?
It was Lindsay, Stevie. There's another person who played keys and sang. I think her name was Christine McVie. That's right.
And
Because she
the
married the bass
drummer-
player. The bass player is John McVie. So yeah, there's John McVie and then the drummer. So I think there's 5.
Okay,
I think there was 5. Yeah.
Man, I didn't realize that wasn't the original lineup.
No. They had a total rebirth in terms of their sound and all that. It became more folky and whatnot.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I think their crack at trying to hit the mainstream at the time, which I mean they obviously succeeded.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a different direction than where they started for sure.
That is crazy. You just literally blew my mind.
Yeah.
I never even knew that.
Oh yeah.
That's super interesting. I'll have to go look them up. Or Peter Green. Did he
Yeah.
ever do any solo stuff afterwards?
Yeah. Peter had a solo career. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think it's just spelled like Green, so Green. I was trying to remember if there was an E on the end, but I don't think there is.
Yeah, that's weird when people do that. But if that's your last name, I guess that's your last name.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is.
Well, that's cool. What do we got next? I know we talked about a certain quantity of songs, but I'm digging it, man. So
Yeah.
you keep wanting to play them, I'll keep wanting to listen to them.
All right. Well, tell you what. I'll tell you what, if we're gonna extend it a little bit more in terms of songs, I'll do. Got to tune up. I'll do this one. It's a little bit more of some of the stuff that I had been messing with. I started doing a bit more acoustic stuff lately because it's a bit of a departure from the electric thing, but it's actually, it's quite fun in a lot of ways to try to, get as much sound as possible out of just you and an acoustic guitar, and I don't know. There's just a quality to it that I really enjoy.
So I'm going to ask you something real stupid.
Sure, go ahead.
But this sounds real stupid, and I think as I'm thinking about the question, I'm already fixing to answer it myself in my head. But the approach to playing acoustic and electric are totally different. Or if you play a song a certain way on an electric guitar, does it transfer directly to the acoustic guitar?
Directly, no. I mean, the thing about it is, like it's the same tuning, same notes, and this and that. I mean, so you can do that, but what you can do on an acoustic is not the same as what you can do on an electric. I mean, they're the same instrument, but there's things you can do on acoustic that you can't do on an electric, and vice versa. Like I know with an electric, I mean, you can, you usually have a lot more access to frets, whereas like on this one here, it stops like right here.
I got you.
And like for me as a lead player, that'd be a little annoying because,
Gotcha.
But that's just how this is built. So, I mean, there are things you can do. I mean, you theoretically, you could do whatever on each and it carries over. But it just depends on what sounds good,
I got you.
Yeah.
Cool.
So let me see. I'll try this one out. So I was wrong. There is some stuff I'd gotten into. I'd gotten more into a lot of these singer-songwriter-y types. So
Like who?
Townes Van Zandt, Guy Clark,
Okay.
Blaze Foley, which some of them are based in blues, some of them are a bit more folky. This one here, I'll do this one. This one's a tune called Dancin' Mama. This one's also a new one. And this one's kind of more of a folky one. I mean, when I play this one, I kind of think of like the Guy Clark thing a little bit. And,
Okay.
but yeah, it's a little more on the folky side. But this is sort of what I've been doing. So this is Dancin' Mama. She got eyes of sapphire, deadly stare, ruby red lips and dark brown hair, and a smile so devious yet innocent. She got an hourglass body and a set of curves, leaves the most faithful of men disturbed. She's got a goal, she knows her intent. She hits the joint every Friday night. Don't take long for every man in sight to follow the glimmer of a dress. Takes a victim by his hand, all a part of the plan, all eyes on the seductress. She's a fine dancing mama. She's the queen of the floor. She'll take you for a spin till she can't take no more. She's there for a good time. She's got one thing in mind. She ain't going home alone tonight. She's tangoing and two-stepping, working hard but barely sweating, moving to the beat in perfect time, running through partners by the tens till they're tuckered out or their money spent, till I approached the band with the Franklin so crisp, so fine. Walked on over and asked for her name. She told me and I did the same, and asked me if I knew what I was in for. I said, baby, you know I'm not like the rest. Consider your prior partners a test. You've never been with the likes of me before. She's a fine dancing mama. She's the queen of the floor. She'll take you for a tango till you can't take no more. And she's there for a good time. She's got one thing in mind. She ain't going home alone tonight. So we danced, and we danced, danced some more, and you guessed it, pounded back a shot or two and headed back to the floor. It was roughly about 1:30, about a half hour before we had to be done, when she stopped. She nearly dropped. I caught her and asked her if she'd had her fun. She said, yeah, I'm done. You won. People looking around, their jaws on the floor, the impossible now possible. What they didn't know is that energy shots do wonders. Before I could get going, she said, there's a storm brewing. Could I give her a lift home? Next thing I knew, I was at her door. I saw the gleam in her eye that said she wanted more. And the next thing I knew, didn't get no sleep until about 5 o'clock in the morning, because we had ourselves an enjoyable evening, to put it the best way, I guess. But now I got me a fine dancing mama. She's the queen of the floor. We go out for a spin till we can't take no more. And we're there for a good time. We're two of a kind. And we ain't going home alone tonight. We ain't going home alone tonight. Going home alone tonight. So a little something like that. You know.
I dig it, man. That's
Thanks.
good.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I'm sitting here and I'm trying real hard not to giggle and just take it all in. But man, you are talented, man.
Thanks. Appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you. So, how long ago did you write that song?
I think I actually did that one earlier. I think earlier this year.
Oh, really?
One. Yeah. And again, actually going back to that songwriting thing, that it's kind of the same thing where I had like that first verse in mind, and I had the chorus. I didn't know where to go from there with it, and then eventually, like I had that whole finger picking thing. That whole. Like all that. Mm-hmm. I had that in the back of my mind for a while, and I think what had happened was, I had those lines I came up with, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, okay, there's that. And then I remembered that finger picking line, and that might work. And then I was like, okay. So I gave it a whirl, and then I sat down and I started writing things out, and I'm like, okay, I'm liking where this is going and whatnot. And eventually, I finally finished it. And it's sometimes with some of these songs, you'll sit back and just be like, finally, I figured something out to do with this. It's not floating around in here anymore. It's got a purpose now. But yeah, I think I wrote it this year, but I had the ideas floating around for a couple of months before that, probably.
Well, you talked about earlier about having your first album. How many albums do you have out?
I have one album and I have an EP.
Okay.
So yeah, like the first CD was 10 songs. This last release I had has 6.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, like this one here, this last one here is not on anything just yet. It will be on something soon, because I'm planning on trying to get back in a studio after, like probably sometime in early July, maybe mid-July. Start trying to cut some things again.
Where do you record out of?
I mean, it depends. For the first album, there was some studio off of like, it was 410 and like I-10 West.
So here in San Antonio?
Well, the first one was in San Antonio. The second one was in Green, New Braunfels Green, and that was my friend Matt Fansteel who cut that one. We did that one there, and then I'm kind of looking around. I'm planning on maybe this third one going up to Austin. There's a studio that I've been to twice already where we've recorded some stuff where we'd be on TV. Playing some stuff. Yeah.
Is that where you recorded the YouTube video the other day?
Yeah, the ones that have been coming out recently. Where I'm in the black fringe. With
I believe
the hat.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
What was that called? That was wasn't it
512 Studios Live? Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and so I'm thinking about probably going up to 512 and trying to do that. And,
I tell you what, that video you posted from 512. On the Instagram, I think you put it on a story or something.
Oh yeah. It was a black and white clip, right?
I believe so. Was that you and the band, or was that the house band or something?
No, that was me and my band. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's those are the 2 guys I was telling you about earlier. That's Dave and Pete. Yeah, those are my guys.
That was a short little clip because Instagram stories are a few seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, that was hot, man.
Yeah.
I was like, good Lord.
Well, that's just a sampling of that song. That one should be whenever they put the last one, because we did 3 songs, and that's the last one they still need to put out. So, and I'm gonna try to get that one out when it does, because I know I missed the second one. But this third one, when they release it, I'll definitely put that back up on there.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'll put it back up on Facebook and all that, so you guys can check it out. Instagram as well.
Now, I'm old, so nowadays, what is the most efficient way, the most bang for your buck, to be able to put out music? Or is there still albums, recording, CDs, or is it all just digital format?
Well, I mean, for me personally, I just stick to CDs and digital downloads.
Okay.
I don't really get the whole vinyl thing, and that's just me personally.
Yeah.
But on top of all of that, vinyl, I found out, is freaking expensive. Like,
oh, really?
Like, oh yeah, to produce vinyl, it is ridiculously expensive.
I guess because they have to make the molds or whatever.
Well, I think they got to make the wax and all that other stuff. Yeah, I mean, like I remember I did a show in Austin during South by, and the guy after me, who played, he had like 6 copies of his newest release on vinyl, and I think he was selling each copy for like $20.
Wow, that is expensive.
Because for me, like when I sell stuff, like one of my CDs I sell for like $12, the other one's $8. Obviously the one with the more tracks is more expensive.
Sure.
But I'm like, damn. I'm like, for that price, you could drop money on a T-shirt for $20.
Yeah, but I guess there's some nostalgia to it. I mean,
I think it's the nostalgia factor for sure. It's because I know it's almost kind of ritualistic to put the record on there and put the needle on and whatnot. And,
yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, look, to each their own. That's kind of how I've always looked at it. But for me, I've always been used to CDs. The formats I'm used to is, regular like cassette tape, CDs, and then digital. I mean, those are the ones that I have the most experience with. And I think we're way past tape at this point. That stuff,
Do you foresee like the CD ever going by the wayside at some point in the near future, or do you think it'll be around for a while?
I think to a degree it already is beginning to, but
it breaks my heart to hear that.
Well, and it's ironic because, like there's one thing I heard about where, and I've joked about it at gigs, but it's like, it's hard to find a CD player, yet everybody's got a record player. Like,
it's very strange, isn't it?
Well, people call it strange. I call it ass backwards. It seems a little strange and kind of, it's a little weird.
And it's funny because I don't know the lineage here, but you had the record player, and then in my mind, I'm sure I'm going to miss some. But then there were 8 tracks, and then tapes, and then eventually CDs, and it seems like everything's kind of slowly died off, but yet you can still buy record players on Amazon all day long. You could buy. You could buy one of those. I've seen one of those, but like they're like the lunchbox looking. Oh no, it was the TNT thing that you'd use for 8 tracks. You could probably buy one of those. You can get a Walkman. You could get a Sony CDR player. You could probably get all of those for cheap, maybe for nothing. Yeah.
And these record players are a fortune, like especially if they're in good condition and all this and that.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Like, well, and it's like there's certain things like I know like with instruments, like there's vintage instruments. There's a market for that, and some of those prices are ridiculous. Like this guitar here, for example. I'm not gonna say it was cheap because it's not. But it's only about 10 years old, whereas one like that they may have first made in like the 60s would probably sell for close to maybe $8,000, $9,000, $10,000.
Wow.
When for you could get one of these used that's a newer model for significantly less, and it sounds pretty close to it, and it sounds just as good if not better.
So there isn't much of a sound difference in a guitar that old. I mean, I'd imagine
there's differences in sound. I mean, it's just, the thing about it that I found personally is that there is something like I'll say this, with electric guitars, I don't think it's that much of a difference. Mm-hmm. I think with acoustic guitars, there it is because you get the aging of the wood, and because it's hollow, and there's a different way it ages, and this and that. I think there is something to it because the body and all that vibrates a lot more than, say, a regular electric guitar, like a solid body guitar would.
I got you.
But there's something more to the vibrations. But I sat there and I've listened to a couple of old guitars, and I hear some of them, and I'm like, it's all right. I've played some old ones that are phenomenal, but I've played also quite a bit where it's like, okay, it's like, and then I've picked up the same model that's brand new or newer, and it's like, oh, this sounds way better than that one.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, a lot of it comes down to ear too, like, what you hear and what you like.
So I guess it's subjective on what you're hearing.
It's subjective on what you're hearing, but it's in the ear of the beholder. I mean, and a lot of times these older things that people buy, it's like conversational pieces. It's like the same thing with cars. You'll get somebody that goes and buys like, I don't know, like an old Mercury
66 Ford Galaxy 500.
well, anything, yeah. I mean, it could be an old Vet, could be like a GTO or something from the 60s or the 50s or something like that.
And I'd imagine that the type of wood also that they're made out of makes a big difference, huh?
Yeah, no, it does. It does. I mean, depending on what the guitar's wood has on it, it will dictate, if it's brighter, more mellow. So yeah, no, it definitely plays a part. But what I was getting at with the cars, it's like, you'll pay a pretty penny for these old cars or whatnot. And it's like, okay, so you could basically occasionally pull the cover off of it and be like, check it out, got this, so you can have a 5-minute conversation about it, and you dropped all this money, I'm more of I don't know if materialist is the right word. No, that's not the right word. I'm basically somebody who likes to use things as tools. Let's put it that way. Like I'm like, if I buy something, I'm there to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say materialist. That's the wrong word. But
I'd imagine it also has to do with what kind of chicks you're trying to pick up, car and guitar wise.
Yeah. I think so. Well, I think I think you'd have an easier time with a souped up car versus a souped up guitar getting someone. I mean, you pull up. I mean, you know, I show up to somebody with like the Holy Grail guitars as a '59 Gibson Les Paul. I show up with a girl with that. You know, they're probably gonna shrug it off. But I pull up in a Lamborghini or a McLaren or a Ferrari. They'll take notice.
Not me, Anthony. The girls I'm going after, I'm bringing a dump truck. Well, let's get another one on. What else do you have?
All right, let's see. Yeah, what else do we have? Oh, you know what? I'll do. I guess we'll do something bluesy. I guess that's kind of more my, my starting point.
Okay,
so to speak.
I dig just watching you pick that thing, man.
Trying to figure out if I should do this one or not, because I don't think I've done this one without lyrics either, but...
Let's let it fly, man.
Okay. All right, let's do it. This one's also called Walk a Mile in These Shoes. I got holes in my shirt and tattered jeans. Dirty socks and gloves are ripped at the seams. You don't know what it is to lose till you walked a mile in these shoes. My tin can's been towed and my house is locked. My motorhome's a 72 cardboard box. People stay away, say I'm of no use. Yeah, I've learned to handle the abuse. Well, there ain't no feeling like watching your entire world burning. While everybody walks on by, the world it keeps turning. It's hard enough living on these streets, using duct tape to keep the soles beneath my feet. You don't know hard living, to tell you the truth, till you've walked a mile in these shoes. Well, there ain't no feeling like watching yourself crumble, being treated like a roach after you stumble. Taking it day by day, getting my fill, garbage souffle. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone to walk a mile in these shoes. Walk a mile in these shoes. Wouldn't wish it upon anyone to walk a mile in these shoes. Thank you.
Nice, brother. I love it.
Thanks.
So tell me something. Where are people going to find you this month?
I know this month. Well, I know this week. I know tomorrow because today's Wednesday.
Just so people know, it's Wednesday, June 15th.
Yeah.
Today.
So tomorrow, which will be June 16th, I'll be at the Villa at Green with the full band, which is out in Green off of Green Road. That's 7 to 10. Friday, I got a doubleheader where I'm going to be, so the 17th, I got a doubleheader where I'm going to be at Altdorf Beer Garden out in Fredericksburg from 12 to 3 during lunch. And then I'm coming right down the street, right down 281, because I got a gig that night at Vine in the Village, which is right out here in Bulverde.
Right here in Bulverde, right?
Yeah, from 7 to 10, and I'll be doing that. Saturday, I've got another doubleheader, which is the 18th, which is going to be, I'll be at back in Green at Cactus Jack's, which is on Hunter Road. I'll be there from 1 to 4, and that'll be the Green Market days. And then right after that, I got to haul ass up to Austin. I play Wild Greg's Saloon from 6 to 8, which is in Austin on 6th Street, right next to San Jack Saloon, if you know where that's at. And then Sunday, for all of my Lampasas and Bench friends, I'll be at the Ben General Store. That's going to be from 3 to 7 that day. So it's supposed to be 5 to 9, but it's 3 to 7. So we're knocking that back a little bit. And all those shows, except for the one at the first one, that Villa at Green, the rest of them are all solo gigs. So I'll be doing that. That's at least this week. If you want to check out any more upcoming shows, make sure to check out my website at awrightmusic.com, where I got all my shows posted up, some videos, photos. You can download some music from there as well.
Can they buy a CD on that same site?
Yeah, they can buy them. Yeah, they could do physical CD. I mean, if they let me know, or I think there's a way they can do that. I know it's set up to be more the digital thing, but yeah, they can. They can buy a CD through there too. Yeah, and I suppose if I dropped the website, I might as well also drop socials while I'm at it.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. So I got my Facebook page, which is A Wright on Facebook, which you can give me a like there. And again, I put all my stuff up there just like on the website. You can also follow me on Instagram, which is A Wright Music. And I also got my YouTube page up at A Wright as well that you can check out. Or to find it a bit easier, you can type in Anthony Wright Band and a bunch of them will pop up. Still working on trying to get that channel a bit bigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's...
Can they find that the 510 Studios on your page too, or do they have to go to the 510 Studio page?
The 512 Studios page,
512,
that's on their thing. I might be able to actually maybe tag it potentially to my website or something like that. But yeah, it's easiest just to type in 512 Studios Live and then A Wright after that, and my episodes will pop up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your big show's at the end of the month, right? Sam's Burger Joint. What day is that on again?
Yeah, Sam's Burger Joint. We're gonna be playing there from 8:30 to 10 o'clock on Thursday, June 30th. So I think it's the last day of June. And we'll be doing that. I know right now tickets are $10 in advance, or or 13 at the door. Or if you want, you can get a booth for 40. It is an 18+ show. You can be 17 and under, but you got to have your parent with you for that,
gotcha.
or a guardian. And like I said, tickets are, unless you're paying at the door, tickets are available online at Sam's Burger Joint's website. You can get it there. And I suppose I could probably shout this out too. I'm also doing another big show. There's this guitar, it's a guitar festival thing or something like that that's taking place in San Antonio, July 8th, and it'll be at the Tobin Center. I'll be doing a gig
that's cool.
from was it 9 to 10:50. I think we're going to be on an outside stage.
That's cool.
But we're basically going to be doing kind of like a blues rock type of show, and that'll be
the full band?
Yeah, that's going to be the full band, and we'll actually be a bit more expanse because I'll be bringing a keyboard player out for that, so that'll be really
that's cool.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a fun show.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You are a busy guy.
I'm blessed to be in the position that I'm in because I know there's a lot of, like I said, I know there's still a lot of people that there are some that are still kind of still trying to get back on their feet. So
Sure.
So it's a blessing to be, busy and to be in the position I'm at.
Well, you're a very talented guy. You got a great voice. You got a great sound. I dig it, man.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Well, I tell you what. What do we wrap it up with? One more song?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll tell you what, in this one, This is appropriately titled. This is the last song on my newest release, which is called Acoustic, which, if you don't know, it's basically an acoustic EP, so or very much heavily acoustic. Cool. This is the last song on that EP called So Long. So if you have a favorite ex in mind, you can think of them with this one.
Oh, I've got a whole bunch of favorite exes. I'm just kidding, Nina.
I know. So long, so long. You won't feel it now, but soon you'll realize that I'm gone for good. No point in turning back now, even if you could. Yeah, you'll tell me without you I just couldn't carry on. Well, you're wrong, oh, so long. Talking all about your problems, thinking only about yourself. You say you don't know why you're still sticking around. That's alright, I'll find someone else. So long, so long. You won't feel it now, but soon you'll realize that I'm gone for good. No point in turning back now, even if you could. Yeah, you'll tell me without you I just couldn't carry on. You're so wrong, so wrong, so long. I'd do anything for you, but you could care less about me. But when it comes to love, you know it takes two. 'Cause love ain't a one-way street. So long, so long. You won't feel it now, but soon you realize that I'm gone for good. No point in turning back now, even if you could. Yeah, you'll tell me I couldn't get by without you. Yeah, that's so untrue. I do. So long now. I'll learn to carry on. Sing a different, happier, upbeat song. Roll on, roll on, roll on. So long. Adios. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen, sayonara, bye, so long.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Anthony.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming by and sharing your music with me.
Absolutely.
Everybody go check out Wright. Go see him live. Go see his webpage. Go see his social media. Good stuff, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Gabe Molina Podcast.